Afternoon garage. Today I'm going to be working on the Firebird. I think I'm going to plan on selling this car here very shortly in the springtime. And you know, whenever you finish a car, especially when it's a big project like this, there's always things that you're going to be chasing. You know, sometimes it's major things like suspension or the engine or, you know, part of the drivetrain that kind of fails on you, or maybe something gets loose. Or it could be really something really minor, like, you know, seatbelt bolts coming loose, or maybe it not retracting correctly. I don't really have any of those problems. Those are pretty large problems. But what I do have is I have a list of 11 things that I need to take care of. It runs and drives great. Nothing wrong with that. But there are some issues, you know, back to the air suspension thing again, and, you know, some things in the interior that just could be touched up a little bit, made a little bit better. I think for the next few episodes, what I'm going to do is make some videos on some of the little things that I can fix, and maybe you can pick something up here and there. The air system ought to be really interesting because I'm going to be converting from plastic lines to copper, and in looking on the internet, on YouTube especially, there's really no instructions on how to do that correctly. But anyway, follow me as we complete this list and get this car off the lift much better than it was when it came in. It rains really hard to get water on the inside of the glass. It isn't completely desirable. Taking the seats out of it and tried to dry it out a little bit. It's not wet in there at all, but it's coming off. It's coming off of here, getting underneath the seal down in the window. I think that's why they put like a drip rail in here. So I think I'll be doing that. So what I purchased is some stainless steel drip rails from OER. And I'm going to put these things on. I'm probably going to have to take the weather stripping off. And it's going to go underneath there. So that'll solve that problem. Start with this interior here. Well, what I have wrong now is, I don't know if you can see it, I have some wrinkling starting, and this edge isn't really the best either, but I have wrinkled vinyl here. And up here, this whole thing is just kind of flopping around, so when you open the door, it kind of flops this way. And I think, because if you can look in there, there's a tab that's not in the pocket, so probably gonna have to take the whole door panel off in order to fix that. Underneath this, you can see there's clips underneath here that mate with something in the door. So that explains why this whole thing was kind of flopping around. So that little tab there has to engage into a slot in the door. And there's some catches right there and right there There's also one in the middle. Another thing here, you can kind of see how poor this upholstery work was done here. The glue is completely kind of just come off from the edge of the door panel, which kind of explains why we're getting some buckling. We're getting some buckling in this area behind. And I think that's because this door panel is actually, the door is actually kind of concave. And I think this panel is built flat, so then when you scrunch it together, it develops some hills, peaks and valleys. So I think what we're going to do, we'll just try to take this off. I'm going to remove as much of this adhesive as I can. I'm probably going to get it all the way around the corner. See, these corners aren't done right either. They should be cut and V-cut to go around a corner, not just kind of scrunched together. But you know, this is kind of what you pay for here. This fiberboard, for lack of a better word, is pretty good stuff. I mean, it's not like it's a piece of plywood or anything like that, but you know, if you don't stretch this vinyl over it, it tends to do this kind of stuff. So, it's all right. We'll glue it back together. Okay, so here's this door panel. It comes from OER, I think. And they manufacture these things flat. And if they're flat, well, they don't have any wrinkles in them, but the door is curved. So when you install this on the door, you have all these wrinkles that show up on both sides. Because the door is curved, and this was stretched over a flat frame. And unfortunately, it's kind of bonded to the inside here. So I guess you could take it and kind of pull it and stretch it this way and that way, and you know, try not to distort anything else, and then kind of glue it back to where it has as few wrinkles as possible. I think I'll try some steam, but that's just not a good look. We'll see if we can get that out with just some manipulation of the vinyl here. Yeah, it still exists, so I'm going to take and detach this from the door a little bit, and then kind of stretch it, and then tack it down that way. Try not to get other wrinkles like over here, and see if I can minimize that as much as possible. This is molded stitching here. It's not actual real stitching, and I think it just takes and it shrinks it all up, and then you have wrinkles on the edge. When they put the V-cuts in here, they didn't allow enough room, and they didn't cut deep enough either. So I'm gonna kind of cut it back further. I'll probably mark that, pull that up there, and then just tack this back together.
11 minutes later.
Well, this repair looked pretty good. You know, at first I wasn't really thrilled about putting this stainless trim on here. I kind of thought, you know, less trim is more. But after looking at the shape of the door, and it's kind of a teardrop shape here, I kind of like it. So I think the addition of the stainless trim is going to be a good thing. And especially, you know, when there's water coming down here, it's really not going to have a chance to get past this seal here. This is what they call a frameless door seal, in that just the glass presses up against the rubber seal. You know, so it's a high chance you're going to get some water in there, especially if you're spraying in that direction. But at least when you get water from the top, it's not going to go and seep down underneath and then go on the inside of the glass and run down the door panel, causing you further problems. You know, I was also thinking that having that water run on the inside of the door and probably down the door panel may contributed to that adhesive failure at the bottom of the door. You know, I'm actually really happy about how the glass fits the door rubber here. You can see it's a kind of a real nice tight seal. I don't think there's any need to adjust the window at all. I think it's in the right position. Just the addition of this drip rail probably solved that problem. So next week, we're going to continue with some more interior things. I'm going to take that center console out. I already redid it, and well, looks like I need to do it again because I have a delamination problem with the vinyl. So I'll be getting into that, a little bit of sewing and that kind of thing. Then after that, we're going to work on the air suspension, convert everything from plastic to copper. So that'll be exciting, very time consuming, and well, a little bit expensive. But if you like content like this and you're not already subscribed, please do so. And if you know anybody who works on the cars that I do, well, just let them know. Till next time.